200 men had answered that question before. One finished it in 5 seconds. The challenge was simple: survive against a 243-pound European champion who had ended 17 tournament bouts in under 8 seconds. Not once had anyone lasted longer than 9.2, not once in 14 cities. In row 14, seat 6, a 138-pound man in a plain gray jacket was reading the program under the fluorescent lights. What happened next took exactly 5 seconds. The arena would talk about those 5 seconds for the next 30 years. Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena, March 18, 1973, 7:42 in the evening. The building breathes before the people do. The air carries the stale metallic smell of old steel beams warmed by television lights. Beneath it floats the sweeter scent of popcorn soaked in butter and something institutional, cleaning chemicals that never quite leave the concrete. You taste it at the back of your throat. The arena floor is regulation hardwood, polished at 4:10 that afternoon by a crew of 6 men in gray uniforms. Under the white overhead lights, it reflects like shallow water. The reflections are not perfect. There are hairline scratches near center court. The specific dull shimmer of a surface that has absorbed thousands of footsteps and refuses to forget them. Above, fluorescent fixtures hum, not loudly, just enough to settle into the ears, a steady electric insect sound. Somewhere in the rafters, a loose vent cover taps every 23 seconds when the ventilation system shifts pressure. 836 seats form a red semicircle around the tournament platform. Seat cushions still hold the faint scent of vinyl warmed by bodies that have been sitting since 6:15. Programs rustle in uneven rhythm. Paper against paper. Someone coughs. Someone clears their throat. A soda bottle rolls 3 inches beneath. Row 22 and taps against metal. You feel the building through your shoes. The subfloor rests on reinforced concrete. Every heavy step from the warm-up area travels through the boards and into the soles of your feet. It is subtle, a low tremor, a warning that mass is in motion somewhere beyond the curtain. The platform at center measures 24 feet by 24 feet. Black matting trimmed with white tape. The tape was applied at 5:52 p.m. You can still see one corner where the line bends slightly, a detail only someone standing close would notice. The overhead clock reads 7:44. The announcer's microphone pops once as it warms. A short burst of feedback. The sound hits the far wall and returns half a second later. The arena swallows it. In the lower sections, spectators lean forward. Their jackets brush against each other. The fabric makes a dry, whispering friction. There is anticipation, but it is disciplined. This is not a carnival. This is a sanctioned invitational tournament. Rules typed in 12-point courier on official letterhead. Weigh-ins verified at 3:17 p.m. Medical staff stationed 10 feet behind. The judges' table. The smell shifts slightly as the first competitors finish warm-ups backstage. Sweat enters the air. Fresh and sharp. Not unpleasant. Human effort has a clean edge when it is new. A woman in seat B5 adjusts her scarf. The wool scratches lightly against her neck. She looks toward the entrance tunnel. She does not know why. The tunnel curtain is black, heavy canvas. It absorbs light instead of reflecting it. Behind it, shadows move occasionally, indistinct shapes, a shoulder, a hand. The flicker of a camera flash being tested. At 7:48, the house lights dim by 5%. Not enough to darken the arena, just enough to create contrast. The platform becomes brighter, whiter. The hum overhead grows more noticeable when the crowd lowers its own noise by instinct. Conversations taper, programs close. A zipper sounds from somewhere in row 31. 3 full seconds pass with nothing happening. No cough, no shuffle. 3 seconds in a room this large feels longer than it should. The judges take their seats. 4 men, 1 woman. Clipboards aligned at identical angles. The ink on their pens is fresh. You can smell it faintly from the front rows. 51. The announcer inhales. The microphone carries the breath before it carries the words. But he does not speak yet. Something shifts behind the curtain. Not sound. Wait. The floor responds first. A tremor that begins at the tunnel and travels outward in a widening circle. You feel it in your ankles, then your calves. The tapping vent above stops for one cycle, then resumes. The air tightens, not colder, denser. The black curtain moves outward by 2 inches, then stills. The arena does not make a sound for 4 full seconds. And then, a silhouette fills the entrance. The shift has arrived. He does not step out immediately. First, the curtain strains around his outline. The canvas presses against shoulders that measure 22 inches across. The fabric cannot hide the geometry of him. It conforms. Then, he moves forward. Dolph Lundgren is 6 feet 5 inches tall, 243 pounds as recorded at 3:17 p.m. Official weigh-in. Body fat measured at 7.8% by caliper. Shoulders squared from years of Olympic-style lifting. Collarbone thick. Neck circumference, 18 inches. The specific density of someone who has been engineered by repetition. He steps onto the hardwood. First, not the mat. Testing the surface, the boards answer him with a low, controlled vibration. You feel it through your shoes again, stronger now. The subfloor adjusts. The air around him carries the faint scent of leather gloves and camphor oil rubbed into forearms at 6:58 p.m. Sweat beneath it. Clean, chemical, purposeful. He is 25 years old, born in Stockholm, degree in chemical engineering. 3rd degree black. Belt in Kyokushin. European full contact champion 1971 and 1972. Record 52 official matches. 47 wins, 38 by knockout. Average resolution time, 6.1 seconds. He does not smile. The crowd inhales when he clears the tunnel fully. He wears white tournament pants, bare torso. The overhead lights flatten across his chest and reflect in a pale sheen. Veins run across his forearms like faint blue wires. His knuckles are taped precisely, white gauze wrapped clockwise. He walks to the platform with no wasted motion. Not fast. Direct. A cameraman steps back half a pace to avoid collision. Dolph does not look at him. He climbs the single black step. The platform gives slightly under the transfer of weight. The vibration is not violent. It is heavy, controlled. As if gravity has leaned forward, he turns once to face the seats. Not a bow, a survey. He does not need to shout yet. His presence moves through the rows on its own, layer beneath the muscle. Discipline. He was built inside institutions that reward endurance over emotion. Swedish national team camps at 5:30 a.m. Winter mornings at -12 degrees Celsius. Concrete. Floors. Bare feet. Breath visible in the air. The smell of rubber mats and disinfectant. Silence broken only by instructors counting in clipped tones. Pain was not dramatic in that world. It was data. You strike. You are struck. You adjust. He carries. That logic here. This is not cruelty. This is measurement. 15 cities have hosted his open challenges since June 4, 1972. Stockholm, Helsinki, Berlin, London, Paris, Madrid, Rome, New York, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, Seattle, Vancouver, Montreal, Los Angeles, 200. Challengers accepted. 0 survived the designated 10 seconds. The rules are printed clearly in tonight's program. Any man may attempt. Survive 10 seconds standing. Prize $5,000. Average survival time across all 200 attempts, 4.7 seconds. The longest lasted 9.2 seconds. October 3, 1972, Chicago Civic Center. A former Marine named Daniel Reeves, 31 years old, 198 pounds. Reeves attempted to clinch early. Dolph separated his hands in 1.3 seconds and delivered a right low kick to the outside thigh. Reeves collapsed. At 9.2, could not stand without assistance. Medical report listed temporary motor disruption. Reeves sent a letter 3 months later requesting another attempt. Denied. Because this is not a feud. It is an experiment. Dolph removes a wooden board from a crate near the judge's table. 1-inch pine, measured at 11.8 inches wide, fresh grain visible. You can smell it when he holds it chest high, raw sap, faintly sweet. He grips each side. His fingers flex once. The crack travels through the arena like a rifle report. The wood splits cleanly down the center. No splintering. Two halves drop to the mat. The arena does not make a sound for 5 full seconds. 5. A woman in row 9 lowers her eyes. A man in row 17 tightens his jaw. Dolph drops the broken board pieces beside the platform edge. A ritual. A demonstration of baseline force. He steps to center. The overhead clock reads 7:58. He rotates his shoulders once. Slow. Joint alignment, not theatrics. He lifts his chin and finally speaks. Any man here? The microphone is not needed. His voice carries. European consonants precise, not loud, clear. Any man here who lasts 10 seconds? The sound hits the far wall and returns softer. He scans the audience. Not mocking. Assessing. His psychology is simple and relentless. If a system claims strength, it must test itself. If a room holds men, one should stand. He waits. The ventilation. Hum grows noticeable again. Someone's watch ticks loudly in the silence of their own ears. 4 full seconds pass. No one moves. He repeats, slightly sharper. Any man here? The floor belongs to him. Completely. Row 14, seat 6. The gray jacket is not tailored. The fabric folds softly at the elbows. Beneath it, a simple white shirt. No insignia. No belt visible from this angle. Black trousers pressed but unremarkable. Shoes polished enough to reflect the arena lights. In thin lines, he weighs 138 pounds. Officially recorded in Long Beach the previous summer. Height, 5 feet 7.5 inches. Frame narrow at the waist, shoulders compact. The specific economy of someone who carries nothing unnecessary. While the crowd studies the platform, he studies the program. Paper against fingertip. Ink slightly smudged at the edge of page 3. He turns one page slowly. The overhead lights reflect off the staple in the binding. Any man here? The voice carries again. The air shifts. A faint smell of sweat from the platform drifts back into row 14. The sweetness of popcorn is fading now, replaced by something sharper. Expectation has its own scent. You feel the seat vibrate when someone 2 rows behind shifts their weight. The wood beneath the seats transmits it. In seat 14-5, a man in a navy blazer leans toward the gray jacket. Someone should, he whispers. The gray jacket does not answer. On the platform, 243 pounds of engineered certainty waits without blinking. 7 full seconds pass. No volunteer. The gray jacket closes the program. The sound is small. Paper meeting paper. He stands, not abruptly, just stands. The people around him notice first. Heads tilt slightly. A shoulder brushes wool against wool. The woman in 14-7 pauses mid-breath. He steps into the aisle. There is no change in his face. Calm and direct and carrying nothing that is not necessary, the insider notices. In row 10, seat 2, a man grips the armrest of his chair. His name is Victor Chan. He trained in Oakland in 1967. He has seen what the rest of this arena has not. His knuckles turn pale. He says nothing. The gray jacket walks down the concrete steps. 18 steps total from row 14 to the floor. Each step measured at 7 inches high. His shoes make a soft, consistent sound against the cement. Tap, tap, tap. No. Hurry. The fluorescent hum remains steady overhead. The smell of camphor oil grows stronger as he nears the platform. Dolph watches him approach. First, the height difference registers. 6'5" against 5'7", 1'2". A 9.12-inch vertical disparity. Weight difference, 105 pounds. Dolph's gaze narrows, not in anger, in calculation. The gray jacket stops at the edge of the mat, exactly 24 inches from the platform step. He removes the jacket, folds it once, hands it to no one, places it carefully on the empty folding chair near the judge's table. The chair creaks slightly under the shift in balance. The air feels cooler against his white shirt sleeves. He steps onto the platform. The mat does not tremble under him. The contrast is visible even from row 30. Where Dolph fills space, this man leaves space arms at his sides. No formal stance, the body available for whatever the next moment requires. The arena does not make a sound for 4 full seconds. Someone whispers from the upper deck. "Who is that?" Victor Chan answers without looking away. "Bruce Lee." The name travels in fragments, not shouted, passed from mouth to mouth like a question that already knows its answer. Dolph steps forward once, the distance between them, 7 feet, 4 inches, 2. Worlds in one room. The mat absorbs the space between them, 7 feet, 4 inches. The white tape border visible at the edge of your vision. The overhead lights flatten both men into sharp contrast, pale light against darker shadow. Sweat and camphor oil drift from Dolph's forearms. The faint smell of starch and cotton rises from Bruce's white shirt. The arena air feels cooler now, or perhaps thinner. No one coughs. The ventilation hum continues, steady and indifferent. Dolph studies Bruce the way an engineer studies material before stress testing it. Height differential, 912 inches. Reach advantage, approximately 8 inches. Mass advantage, 105 pounds. Years of full contact conditioning in winter camps. Bone density built through repetition. His logic is intact. His record is intact. This is not arrogance. This is precedent. He steps closer. Now 5 feet apart. "You?" Dolph asks. One word. Not disbelief. Clarification. Bruce's expression does not change. Yes. Calm. Even. Dolph circles once to the right. Bare feet against the mat make a dry, controlled friction sound. Bruce pivots only enough to remain aligned. No stance. Arms at his sides, shoulders loose. The crowd begins to calculate. In row 3, a man counts under his breath. In row 18, someone presses a program against their chest. The woman in seat B5 from earlier has not blinked in several seconds. Dolph's psychology tightens into purpose. The institution that built him taught one truth. Strength must be proven publicly, or it dissolves. A challenge unanswered weakens. The structure. He gestures toward the judges. 10 seconds, he says. The announcer nods. The clock operator places a finger on the timer. The mat smells faintly of rubber warmed by earlier matches. Sweat from prior bouts lingers beneath the camphor. Bruce stands still. Dolph steps within 3 feet now. You understand? Dolph asks. Bruce nods once. The clock above reads 8:03, 3 full seconds pass. The arena does not make a sound. Dolph extends his left hand and places it lightly on Bruce's shoulder. Not striking. Testing weight. Feeling bone beneath fabric. Bruce looks up at him. I respect you. Please step back. His voice carries clearly but without force. 8 words. No emotion. Some in the crowd release a breath they did not know they were holding. Dolph does not remove his hand. Instead, he applies slight downward pressure, a demonstration of control. The difference in leverage is visible. Bruce's frame does not sink. Dolph leans closer. Too late, he says quietly. Bruce's eyes remain level. This is your last chance. 8 words. Measured. The woman in row 9 grips her scarf again. The wool scratches against her knuckles. Victor Chan's fingers tighten around the armrest. He does not look at the clock. He is watching weight distribution. Dolph's hips. Subtle shift in the left foot. Dolph withdraws his hand from Bruce's shoulder and takes half a step back. Space opens again to 4 feet, 8 inches. He rolls his shoulders once, the ritual before violence. Across 200 previous attempts, challengers had chosen 3 options. First, rush forward with both arms extended, hoping to close distance before impact. Average survival, 3.8 seconds. Second, backpedal defensively, attempting to absorb the initial strike. Average survival, 4.1 seconds. Third, attempt to clinch immediately, tying up limbs and forcing a stalemate. Average survival, 5.6 seconds. Longest, Daniel Reeves at 9.2. No one had tried a 4th option. The clock operator glances at the referee. The referee nods. Dolph lowers his center of gravity slightly. Knees bend 12 degrees. His right hip draws back 3 inches. The preparatory load for a forward step. The mat creases subtly under his toes. The crowd senses it. The arena does not make a sound for 6 full seconds. 6. You can hear the faint tick of the overhead clock. Bruce stands exactly where he began. Arms loose, breathing slow. Eyes fixed not on Dolph's face, but slightly below. Sternum height. Reading movement before it forms. The referee raises his hand. The last moment before everything changes. The referee's hand drops. Second one begins. Dolph initiates with his right leg. He steps forward 22 inches, driving off the rear foot. His right shoulder rotates clockwise. The left hand chambers near the jaw. The right fist travels in a straight line toward Bruce's upper chest, targeting sternum height. Estimated force, 1,500 pounds of forward pressure generated from hip torque and body mass. Previous challengers reacted 3 ways. They flinched backward. They reached forward. They froze. Bruce does none of the 3. At 0.8 seconds, he shifts. 3 inches to his left. Not a leap, not a retreat. 3 inches. His right foot pivots 17 degrees outward. The torso rotates just enough to remove the center line from Dolph's punch. The fist passes through empty air where his chest had been. At 1.2 seconds, Bruce's left hand rises, not to block, but to redirect. 2 fingers press lightly against Dolph's forearm. The contact is brief, fractional. The force is not resisted. It is guided 4 inches off its path. Dolph's mass continues forward, momentum without target. At 1.6 seconds, Bruce's right fist travels forward from a position it never chambered. Distance, 5 inches. Elbow barely extends. Wrist aligned. Strike lands precisely on the floating ribs beneath Dolph's left pectoral. No wind-up, no telegraph. The sound is not loud, a compressed thud, like a book dropped flat against wood. The second. 2 begins. Dolph inhales sharply, but no air arrives. The diaphragm spasms. Neurological shock disrupts breathing rhythm. His forward leg, still carrying weight, hesitates. Bruce does not chase. He remains inside the pocket. At 2.4 seconds, Bruce steps 4 inches deeper, not backward. Forward. This is the option nobody tried. Previous challengers tried to escape mass. Bruce occupies its blind spot. His left hand rises again, this time contacting the side of Dolph's jaw with a short vertical punch. Distance traveled, less than 4 inches. The rotation originates from the ground, heel to hip to shoulder. Precise. The impact is clinical. Dolph's head snaps 3 inches to the right. Neural interruption. Equilibrium shifts. Second 3 begins. Dolph attempts to correct posture. His left foot scrapes against the mat. The rubber surface grips briefly. The smell of sweat intensifies as his body attempts to reassert control. Bruce is already repositioning. At 3.2 seconds, his right foot slides 6 inches diagonally. His left palm strikes upward beneath Dolph's chin, not with force to fracture, but to elevate. Just enough to disrupt spinal alignment. The floor trembles slightly, not from Bruce. From Dolph losing structural coherence. Second 4 begins. Dolph's knees weaken, not from pain, from neurological overload. His lungs still cannot draw breath. His body searches for oxygen that has not returned. Bruce steps aside 18 inches, clear path. Gravity completes the sequence. Dolph falls forward, not violently. He folds, right knee touches first, then left, then palms against mat. The impact is heavy. The mat compresses. The sound echoes against the walls. Second 5 begins. Bruce has already stepped back to his original position, arms at his sides, breathing unchanged. Dolph remains on hands and knees. He attempts to inhale again. The breath arrives in fragments. The referee looks at the clock. 5 seconds. Exactly 5. The arena does not make a sound for 4 full seconds. 4. You can hear the ventilation system hum again. Someone's program slips from their lap and lands softly on concrete. Bruce stands exactly where he was, expression unchanged. Hand returned to his side. Dolph remains on his knees for 3 seconds longer, not unconscious, aware. The mat smells of rubber and sweat beneath him. His palms feel its texture, slightly warm from the lights. His lungs search for air with short, mechanical pulls. The neurological shock fades first. The rib pain arrives second. Not sharp, deep, educational. Does not look angry. He looks precise. The institution that built him valued data over emotion, and data has just been delivered. He places one foot flat against the mat and rises slowly. 243 pounds returning to vertical alignment. The arena watches his balance carefully. He steadies himself without assistance. Bruce has not moved. Arms loose, shoulders relaxed. The same calm and direct expression he entered with. The referee glances at the clock again. 5 seconds. The judges exchange a look that contains no confusion. The arena does not make a sound for 5 full seconds. 5. Then the sound returns gradually. First a single clap from row 3, then 2 more. Then a wave of applause that builds not into chaos, but into recognition. It is not hysterical. It is measured. The woman in seat B5 wipes her eyes without knowing she had been holding her breath. Victor Chan exhales for the first time in nearly half a minute. Dolph faces Bruce. He bows his head slightly. Not deep, not theatrical. Efficient, he says. 1 word, clear. Bruce nods once. Thank you. 2 words. No explanation, no elaboration. The tournament organizer, a man in a dark suit with a gold lapel pin, steps onto the platform. He carries the envelope containing the $5,000 prize. Crisp bills inside. You can smell the faint paper and ink scent as he opens it slightly. He looks at Bruce. This is yours, he says. Bruce looks at the envelope for 1 second. Then he looks back at Dolph. No need. 2 words. He turns, walks to the folding chair, lifts the gray jacket, puts it on. The fabric settles softly against his shoulders. The arena lights reflect off the staple in the discarded program still resting in row 14, seat 6. Outside the arena, traffic continues along Figueroa Street. A bus exhales air at the curb. A vendor sells hot dogs beneath a yellow umbrella. The smell of onions drifts into the cool night. None of it pauses. Inside, Dolph steps toward the edge of the platform and looks at the cracked wooden board still lying in 2 halves near the judge's table. He does not pick it up. He understands something now. Not about strength, but about space. About what occupies it and what leaves it empty. He will tell this story later in Stockholm, in Berlin, in private training rooms where the floor smells of disinfectant and sweat. He will not change the number. 5 seconds. Bruce reaches the aisle. No ceremony, no final glance. The arena continues breathing as it did before he stood. The largest distance Dolph Lundgren had ever traveled happened in 5 seconds. Without Bruce. Lee going anywhere at all. And outside, the traffic lights keep changing. Stillness.